Welcome to the Big Bright podcast. My name is Vic and I'm the Marketing Communications Manager at Bright. And today I'm talking to Luke Cairns from Hightower Video. Hightower Video is an award-winning video production company, providing TV advert and web video content for clients around the world. As part of our ongoing focus on our employer brand, we wanted to create a Meet the Team video which would set us apart from the competition and encourage potential future hires to join us. The fact that we wanted to go with a really creative approach was music to Luke's ears, and so this beautiful partnership was born. We've recently returned to Hightower Video to create an updated team video and thought it was about time to invite Luke onto the podcast to pick his brain on creating standout videos which showcase the parts of your company people actually want to see online. So welcome, Luke. Hello.
Hello, Vic.
It's very nice to see you.
It's very nice to see you as well. Very nice to be here.
Good. Well, I just need to preempt this. Now, I don't know if you're familiar with Paxman.
Of course I'm familiar with Jeremy Paxman. What a legend.
I mean, exactly. Well, you're going to be Paxoed in this whole podcast. So.
Well, that's the idea, is it?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I'm quite a hard-hitting interviewer.
Are you?
Yes. I mean, It has been said. No, absolutely not. But I'm going to give this a bash because it's really lovely to see you. And I really appreciate you coming in as well to see us over this really weird time that we're in at the moment.
Of course. Any excuse to get out of the house.
Yes, well, exactly. Although I'm actually in the office at the moment, which is odd. So it's been really good, though, for you to come in. Before we get onto the video, probably none of our listeners will know, but Luke and I have worked together in the past. And I used to work for a digital agency in Brighton. And you used to work for a company called Butcher's Hook.
Yes.
Was that your own company or was that?
Butcher's Hook was mine, and I ran it with a chap called Evan, who is a Big Brother camera operator and director.
Oh, amazing.
We had that for about 6 years. We did quite a lot of fun stuff with it, but it sort of petered out, and Evan went off to Portsmouth to be a fellow at the University of Portsmouth doing sort of broadcast TV. He'd had enough of doing production, so he went off and is now teaching people. So. Oh,
amazing. Okay. Well, that's quite cool because, I mean, we sort of kept in touch. It was a bit of a weird one because I was planning on doing a video when I came to work at Bright and I was focusing on employer brand. So for me, it was sort of, you do what you normally do. You go through the Rolodex, such a 90s, 80s reference, Rolodex in your head of who you could probably talk to. And you start Googling it. And I thought, well, I remember working with you before. I thought, well, let's just see if, a Meet the Team video would be of any interest. And I remember stumbling across your website now that you work for Hightower Video.
Yeah.
And so what's your position at Hightower as well?
I'm the boss.
You're the boss.
I'm the guy.
Oh, man. Okay, well, this is more daunting than I'd anticipated then, because I thought you were just,
Oh, you thought I was just a guy?
Just a guy.
I'm just
a regular Joe.
We've known each other for years.
I know.
Come on.
But anyway, it was really exciting though when I stumbled, I suppose, across your website and I sort of thought, oh, this guy does TV adverts. Ah, okay.
Yes.
I just thought you were going to be just way too big to even consider talking to me. But, you didn't forget the little people. And it turns out you do actually do a whole range of different videos, sort of business corporate videos. What other sorts of things do you do?
In the main, really, it's TV adverts. But because in your case, you're up for doing something interesting, I was interested in working. It's nice working because I'm based in Brighton. So it's nice working with Brighton-based clients. As far as all the content I produce is concerned now, I'd like to think I'm in a position where if the client is up for doing something fun, I'm up for doing it.
Yeah.
And if the client isn't, that's when I'm starting to think, okay, do I really want to work on this particular project? So yeah, I do still do corporate video sometimes.
For me, I think when I was working with you on this, certainly to start off with, I always think about how it's really important to make sure that you give the creative over to the creative people.
Yes.
And that you don't try and control the process. Because that would have been really ridiculous if I tried to come to you with this is what I think we should do and no deviation from that whatsoever. And I just think because I was quite open to doing something a bit different to showcase the brand, because the Brighton itself is full of really interesting people. It's quite an eclectic mix of people. We've got sort of developers and we've got sort of marketing people, and it's just, very diverse, but we all really sort of rub along really well together. But people have got really interesting backgrounds and do odd things. And I mean, in our video, if people watch it, I suppose we've got Angus, who is a sort of sword wielding dude who I think at the time, I don't know if he does this now, but he did make chainmail in his spare time.
Yeah, he had chainmail on.
Yeah.
We had him on the roof and it was quite 10th century. I mean, if people watch the video, the idea behind that was there's a shot in Conan the Barbarian when Arnold is swinging a massive sword around his head on the edge of a cliff. So we tried to do something like that, but we needed to speed it up actually to make it even more impressive when Angus did it.
Yeah, totally. Well, I think it was definitely a hit, mate. It was definitely a hit.
Good.
Obviously, as I've been saying, we love working with you to create this sort of Meet the Team video. And the feedback from our clients and the wider network has actually been pretty amazing. We've had lots of feedback from candidates that have come in for interviews that have said they saw the Meet the Team video and they thought these look like really sound people. These are people I want to work with. We've actually had it from clients as well, prospective clients, So people that have no interest in working here but want to buy our product, so Asset Bank or Dash, they've sort of seen it and thought, just by seeing it, we look like a reasonable bunch of people, and they thought that the actual environment that we were offering that came across through the video seemed like a company they wanted to work with. And that's been incredibly positive for us. So why do you think people reacted so well to it online?
As far as I remember, the principal point was to take the video to a conference that you guys are running, and you showed me a load of talking head videos that various other software companies have produced for this conference, and 95% of them were traditional talking head videos. That's my bête noire, really, talking head. It's so standard in corporate video production to stick somebody in front of a camera and then have them talk at an interviewer. It's so standard, but it's so dull, and there's so much potential. I mean, with now the technology that everybody has in their phone, let alone on a decent video camera, if you've got a bit of imagination and you have a bit of a creative spark to take what would be a really boring video, which would be another talking head, which sends people to sleep straight away, and actually make something that's interesting. And whatever the core concept is, and that's, a Meet the Team video in the case of your one, is to take what would be a very dry video of your colleagues parroting stuff out in front of a camera and actually figuring out what your colleagues are about and what makes them tick. It's a Meet the Team video. So personality goes a long way, as Samuel L. Jackson said in, was it? Yeah. It's the Pulp Fiction. Yeah, it's personality goes a long way. So you actually, with video, you see people doing exactly what they love, and the job's done for you.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
Even within the world of talking head videos, you can have really stilted ones where people are just trying to remember. And I've done so many of them where you can see people sitting there like petrified, like this, like I forget it's a podcast, and I'm pretending to really kind of squeeze my, people look really uncomfortable in front of camera.
Yeah.
Then there are better talking heads where people are having a conversation off screen, and that is a better way of doing it, and it does work better. But even so, fundamentally, people aren't being themselves, and people are probably trying to remember what their boss has told them to say, and they might not believe that. And if they don't believe it, the viewer can see, because the camera never lies. You can see it in their eyes if they're parroting the company line.
Yeah.
And people switch off.
That's probably a really good reason that we didn't get anyone to talk on this video, because that could have just been our massive downfall. So just getting to the act was absolutely fine.
Well, this is it. We completely swerved it. So.
So true. So away from the talking head video. So we've been creating quite a lot of content recently around influencer marketing. Obviously, there's been a huge rise in influencer marketing.
Yeah.
And so I'm really interested to see, because of just stuff that I've noticed again online myself, just on a B2C thing, so just me purchasing stuff. The fact that a lot of influencers now are creating a lot of their own videos and actually really decent content. So we're not talking, sort of rubbish Zoom stuff. We're talking really good and brand-worthy content. Has that had any impact on your business at all? Sort of negatively or positively?
No, it has, and it always has done. And I think for me, it was even before influencer marketing was a thing, because I've been making TV adverts with sort of 90s celebrities since 2010,
Amazing.
and so the influencer marketing is an evolution of something that has been a staple of TV advertising for 80 years. Sticking a celebrity or somebody that people know in front of a camera and having that celebrity talk about your product. It's a bulletproof way, and it always has been in TV advertising. Think of Joan Collins for Campari in the 70s, for example. It goes way, way, way back in TV advertising, and it really works. The celebrity that you happen to have, or the influencer, has really built their own brand with their own content. And then, they're associating their brand with your brand. They have all their group of people who admire them already. Yeah, influencer marketing is an evolution of that. So, yeah, absolutely. I've been doing it for years.
Yeah, so it's actually just not a massively new thing to you at all then.
No.
I think it's just something around, I suppose, maybe sort of Instagram influencers and things like that, whether that's had an impact, but I don't really know.
I did a test ad the other day. And again, it was for TV, but it was a guy on TikTok. This guy's 18 years old. He's got 3 million subscribers on TikTok. And I adapted a really rough sort of social first video that he made where he was flogging a VPN so you could watch American shows on UK Netflix. Yeah. And the guy's paid 12 grand for it. He produced the video in about 3/4 of an hour on a phone, and he put it out to his 3 million subscribers on TikTok. And
wow.
the VPN company paid him 12 grand for it. His name's Bobby Moore. You check him out on TikTok.
Okay,
It's
yeah.
mental. It's crazy.
No, we'll do. Well,
Yeah.
funny enough, I think I got a VPN the other day, but that was to watch Fort Boyard in France. It's still a massive
Great show.
It is a great show. Thank you. It is a great show. No one believes me on this. It's only me and my husband that were really into it. Jamie, my husband, grew up in France, so Fort Boyard was a really big thing for him. When he came to the UK, it was on here and obviously presented by Melinda
Messenger.
Messenger was on it at some point.
Yeah.
And
Was Ainsley on it as well? I'm imagining that.
no, I think we always think Ainsley's on everything, but
He is in my heart.
in
he's
my
on everything.
heart, he's as is Les Dennis. He came to the UK when we met, and I called it Fort Boyard as just a classic
Oh,
Brit, and
blimey.
he was absolutely furious with me. A little bit like my issue with Christophe Lambert. Well, I say Christopher Lambert,
Yes.
and he says Christophe Lambert.
Any reasonable Anglophone person would say Christopher Lambert, wouldn't they?
But you didn't think so.
That sounded quite Partridge, didn't it?
But yeah, Jamie has a lot of issues with a lot of things I say, but
Yeah.
it's sort of very, very Kent. But that's because I'm from Kent, so you
Yes.
can take Kent out of the girl. Cool. So obviously, talking about influencer marketing, we know obviously that sort of social media channels as well. So we're looking at a lot of stuff at the moment just as part of our own marketing. We're trying to work out all sorts of new markets and mediums and platforms, and it's certainly with marketing. There's so many platforms to choose from, but we do know that social media channels favour YouTube, I suppose. So one of the most visited websites of all time, YouTube, which I didn't
Yeah.
even know. Which
Yeah.
is ridiculous when you
I
think
can
about it.
believe
Of
it.
course it is. So why do you think people react so differently to video over static images online? I imagine it's just that sort of emotional connection, but what do you think it is?
Well, we all grew up watching TV, so it's been hardwired into our brains since we were a year old to enjoy moving imagery. And then, my mum took me to see Snow White when I was about 4. Then Ghostbusters after that. It's sort of showing my age now, but at
No,
the
I
cinema.
have strong memories of that. So
Yeah,
Ghostbusters.
Ghostbusters at the cinema. But wherever you are in the world, cinema is massive. There's nowhere in the world where cinema and TV aren't such a staple. So moving imagery just engages. Hugely engages more than anything else, I think. I would say that.
Well, yeah. I mean, it'd be awkward if
There's,
it didn't.
there's something about the moving image, which on a web page, wherever, on social, on TV, it draws you in. I'm sure there's a lot more science about it than that, but
I'm sure there is, but
Yeah.
this feels like a L'Oreal advert. You're like, this is the science bit. Or is that Garnier?
Here comes the science. Here it comes.
But yeah, I don't know. I think we're sort of certainly looking at more video now. I think that one of the big challenges for us actually as a company is getting video done quickly and sort of relatively cheaply. And
Yeah.
there are tools out there that you can use. We're always looking at smaller videos, for advertising and stuff like that. So is that something that you guys do, or is that something that your heart is really in TV, and obviously working with 90 celebrities, which
Yeah.
take you to the next level.
As long as it's interesting to do, I'm up for anything. I think really the social first sort of rough and ready stuff, it's stuff I've done before. I mean, probably not so much, but ultimately, as long as it's an interesting idea and it's a reason I'd want to get out of bed in the morning. It's not a talking head, or it's not something which is just a bit rubbish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I think I'm going to continue to come to you for the bigger stuff. But I think it's just something certainly we're sort of struggling with more and more. And I think there are definitely video production platforms out there that you can use that do it's almost like SaaS, like just subscription service, video advert type stuff.
So what is that sort of graphics based stuff?
Very briefly, I sort of did a bit of a trial actually with a company called Promo. So it's promo.com. It's a SaaS service, essentially. It's a subscription service so that you can use their stock video and audio, and you can put your own messaging and stuff over the top. And I found that quite a cost-effective way of producing sort of shorter, easier videos.
If you can do stuff which engages people, I think the one thing I would say about a stock company, which a lot of people are using, if it's on social, other companies might have stuff which looks similar.
Yeah, true.
I imagine there's loads of this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I'd be more inclined for social first for you guys to actually, again, include yourselves as personalities and just do weird stuff on an iPhone.
Yeah.
As long as there's something that's visually engaging, people will watch it,
Yeah, that's true. Well, actually, interestingly, we've had on our static social posts recently, I say interestingly, it's probably really obvious to people, but we've noticed a real uptake in engagement when we've been using images of ourselves, even just sort of stock images that I say doctored, but we've edited or we've applied some of our branding to.
Yeah.
Again, it's sort of the real people. Again, it's the real people, and people want to hear from real people.
People want to engage with real people.
And not brands.
I've been pushing myself around on LinkedIn a bit, recently. If it involves stuff which shows my journey, in inverted commas, of some kind as a video guy, people engage really well in it. Even though I'm clearly not a celebrity or an influencer, I'm just a guy that
You're
posts
getting there.
stuff
You're
on
getting there.
People really enjoy stories. People want to engage in stories, and I think they engage with people and their story so much more than just this is our latest piece of software or whatever. Yeah, it is all about people, and you can see that from the video we made. Meet the team. That was all a section of little stories about various people. And that's why, it did quite well. So
yeah, no, I would agree. One of the things that was really important to me when I was considering coming up with this video, because it was going to be quite a big statement to the company, I felt like I was making a real statement by saying, I'm doing a video, guys. I want you to all be part of it. This is going to be great. And I'd really hyped it up to a point it was I felt almost unrealistic that I talked about it, and I'd really bigged you up, and I was like, this is going to be the best thing ever. But a part of this whole journey, I wanted to make sure that whatever we came out with was really going to accurately reflect the brand.
Yep.
And was going to be a positive reflection of the brand. And that was so important to me, to make sure that whatever we came out with looked really first class, that we could put our name to it and say, yes, we've created that and we've been part of that. That's the thing. I think brand and video, it's essential that you get the quality there. I mean, I know that you can produce sort of slightly cheaper videos sometimes and they can sort of pass through, but for me, having that connection of the quality, I wanted to elevate our brand to a real quality feel.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I don't know if you've seen anything, but recently I've been presented with some adverts at home when I've been watching TV.
Yeah.
And not on local channels.
Right.
So in Brighton, we have a thing like Latest TV. This is actually like ITV. I've been sitting there in between Coronation Street. I watch Coronation Street.
Yeah.
I'm not going to apologise for that.
Yes,
I don't even know why I said I should, but I don't know.
Everybody knows.
Everyone knows. Massive fan. Watching Corrie, and then partway through, an advert will pop on. So you've got sort of, your usual big brands, and then maybe more of like a local brand or something that maybe I've seen before or something I'm familiar with. And I've been so disappointed in what I've seen, because I know that the brand, it might be something I've used before, or it might be a company that I'm aware of that I think, they're really decent, they're really sound, but actually what I'm seeing is not reflecting that at all, and it actually upsets me. I feel bad for them, and I feel frustrated, because I feel like the audience, if they don't know about this product, aren't seeing what I see.
It's very dangerous. A part of my job is to persuade them. You can't do that to your brand. You can't go cheap, especially on TV,
It's
with
because
your brand.
we're spoiled on TV. Like, if you're on YouTube, you're used to seeing something that is,
yeah,
on any social channels, you're used to seeing something that's slightly more, not amateur, but you're used to seeing that's fine. And, being that we're all doing Zoom calls and stuff at the moment, everyone's used to seeing that sort of level of quality. On telly's like, it's like OK Magazine. It's like Hello. It's like print. I'm expecting like Mint, mate. Do you mean like really, really good? I'm not expecting to see something.
And that's
subpar.
why, we're talking about, mention no names, but we're talking about that brand now in a negative way. And that's the real challenge for people who go on TV. If their TV advert doesn't cut the snuff, it can go viral, because people will take the mick out of it. It's so important, and it's also so important to trust the creatives and not to try and from the client's point of view, try and take everything on board and think that they know best. Relying that you've actually employed people who know what they're talking about and actually letting them do their job is really important. My favorite kind of client is like you, Vic, basically.
Oh, classic. Who
say, you're the experts. Let's work collaboratively. It is a process of education, video production and TV advert production. Sometimes it works easier than at other points. I think that's a diplomatic way of putting it.
Yeah, you have to be able to put your faith in the creators and production company that you're working with. Sometimes actually on the flip side, so on the production company's side, I feel like it's their responsibility to try and guide a client enough to be able to free them up to get down on paper what maybe potentially what their vision is or what they're trying to communicate.
Yeah.
But without putting too many barriers and restrictions in the way. So I suppose the brief and things that you put together is a really important part of that.
Yeah.
So we're probably hopefully known now for any concept that we put out, we try and put something really helpful and practical, tangible for people to take away from anything that we do. So even these podcasts. So you gave me a video brief that I had to fill in, which I actually found very, very helpful. What information do you typically require to put a brief together? I suppose what would be your recommended approach for getting the important messages across, because that's essential, and the brand message across, but still retaining a sense of personality and all that sort of stuff. So what would be your tips, I suppose, for our audience to take away?
Okay, well, the first thing to remember from a business, from a proper point of view, as with any kind of marketing endeavor, is that who is your audience? Who are you trying to attract with this video? What are you trying to achieve with it as well? It's the who, when, what, why, where. Don't think about, you're thinking about your company rather than actually thinking about the prospective person who's enjoying the media, hopefully, and then getting in touch with you and buying your products or joining a company or whatever. And after that, when it comes from the creator point of view, as we touched on before, it's to listen to the production company that you've employed and collaborate, and work. That part of the brief is important because they're not wedded to your company in the same way that you are. So they might have different ideas. Hopefully they'll have different ideas. That's what you brought them on for. As a collaborative effort, you can then produce something which is really interesting.
So what would you say also about giving feedback? Because I find that's a really interesting part of this process. So certainly working with you first time, I think, certainly meet team video is actually pretty easy. I was really just bought into the whole thing, and we had a few bits of feedback and I think some stuff around branding that we needed to sort out, but they were very easy fixes. We then went on to actually work with you on an animation, which is a bit more
chewy.
I was going to say labour intensive, but chewy is a much better word, and that required a bit more back and forth. And it's sort of, how is it best for clients to give feedback to you? We tried to do everything in rounds, which I'm hoping was helpful.
With editorial feedback, say if there are 3 or 4 different people who are stakeholders in the product, everybody's got different ideas. So everybody looks at the video through different eyes. So everybody has different ideas as to how the video should be or could change. So it's really important for the stakeholders to get together and produce a document, preferably a document rather than a phone call back saying change this, this, this and this, to actually lay out in a cohesive way all of the feedback, just so it all makes sense in one document. Otherwise the back and forth thing can get quite tiresome. If there is all these different stakeholders, all the different ideas piling in at different times of the day. That's one way to make an editor. Well, in my case, my editor doesn't have any hair. I was about to say rip any his hair out, but he's as bald as a cue ball. So sorry, Stephen.
Actually, I do love Stephen. I've worked with him a few times. He's been brilliant.
He's great.
It's about your client managing their stakeholders properly
and managing expectations as well.
Okay, because that's something I think we've as a business here we're getting better at. I hope is when any projects are going on, getting your key stakeholders involved, gathering that feedback, like having one person who's the focal point, who's leading the project, who delivers that feedback, who collates it all, curates it, and makes sure everything's been taken on board.
That's it.
Okay, that's cool.
I think I'm just going to play this podcast to every client that I win from now on. This is how it's done. Vic will tell you.
Well, you say that, but at the end I'm going to ask you, I'm quite keen to cheapen the interview as much as I possibly can. God. So I would like to ask you 2 final questions if I can, because I think we've given our listeners something very helpful and tangible, hopefully, to take away. My first question would be, who would you love to work with on your next video venture? And obviously you don't have to say me. But I mean, that will be happening anyway.
Are we talking about celebrity? Are we talking about...
I am talking about celebrity because that's the only language I speak.
Yes. Okay. It would be Sean Williamson, Barry from EastEnders.
Give him his correct title, Yes. Barry from EastEnders. No one knows who Sean Williamson is.
Nobody knows it. My girlfriend and I, we're big quizzers. We've become big quizzers. So he's a genius. He's like a super brain for quizzes. Apart from the fact he's Barry from EastEnders and he's hilarious and he can sing, he's a really smart guy and he's a really good quizzer. There was a show that Anne Hegarty, who's one of the chasers, she's got her own show now, and he won the whole series of that. He's a legend. Yeah,
he is a legend. Now, funnily enough, there's a recent sort of surge of people doing celebrity video messaging.
Cameo,
There's Cameo, and before that was Celeb VM. So that's one I used to use, and I still do. And I got, for my husband's birthday, I did get Sean Williamson, Barry from EastEnders, to do him a video message. And he sang Mustang Sally at him and Ra Ra Rasputin.
Excellent.
Which was
Was that your choice?
That was my choice. I mentioned that Jamie was a Boney M fan and he went straight in. But he was great. He took all the information that we'd given and he rolled it into this birthday message, and he really committed to it as well.
That's brilliant.
And all for £30.
I wouldn't think of anything else from Sean Williamson. So he'd be amazing. My guy.
Yeah.
And that's a sort of a realistic guy. I was thinking earlier on maybe Michael Caine, maybe Sean Connery, but let's be honest, this is
we want more down to earth. I mean, I think Sean is an excellent choice. And my final question, so really solidify this is the end.
Yes.
Is who would win the fight? Ainsley Harriott or Anthony Worrell Thompson?
I would say Ainsley, because he looks like the fitter man. He's bigger than Worrell Thompson. Worrell Thompson's older. I don't hate to be discriminatory, but Ainsley would smash him.
Yeah, I agree. Luke, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for joining us today on our podcast. On the Big Bright podcast, I should say, because I don't want to forget the actual title of it.
It's been a real pleasure. Thank you very much, and look forward to working with you very soon once again.
Me too. Nice one. Cheers, mate.
Thanks for listening. Please remember to subscribe to ensure you never miss an episode. You can find out more top tips from the Bright team on our website at bright-interactive.co.uk.